So anyway, that was the thing. So after the Tony Barra had said, and like I just said, we had no inclination at all. It was only which was the most rare thing to do, to ask somebody with his tape machine to tape the show, and it was only after the dressing room that we sat down, and John was sitting here, I was sitting there, and he slapped me on the back and that's it. No more touring. We talked, the voice in the background said, I am no longer a Beatle. This was George. So immediately there and then I said to John, that's me too. I finished, okay. But I could have stayed on. There was no pressure for me to go because they stopped touring. There was still been loads and loads of work for me to have done. But it was an opportunity. Yeah. And as it turned out,
that was my...
me doing it then, packing up then, was the time. In retrospect, it's turned out to be the best.
The cream of the crop, yeah.
Because I didn't have to stay there when all the bad things were happening, and the boys were falling out with each other, and different things were going on, and people like the Alan Kleins in this world, I wouldn't have liked that. And then with the terrible accident that happened to Brian, so it worked out right.
Do you feel,
because I only have to do the main structure of whatever the history or the social history of the Beatles is, and is the time, those 3 years of 64, 5 and 6 was the times that when they took the world.
Do you feel that John had impulsively spoke then because he saw the chaos in the crowd, and that because of how he couldn't get the music across and nobody was listening, that had been the straw that broke the camel's back? Or do you feel that he had planned this in advance?
My own feeling about this was that, touring the world, east and west, around the world, and I got the impression when John said that's it, no more touring, because it was repetition.
Mm-hmm.
They were, being out on the road, it wasn't constructive anymore.
They weren't getting any better as a band, were they?
No.
Was that an off-the-cuff remark because of the chaos he saw in the audience? Because I heard that was a very unruly crowd, and that he was starting to fear for his own safety and everybody else's safety. Or do you think he was thinking of this, and he just had that set in his mind already, that was going to be the final? I
think, yeah. I mean, the way that John, when he slapped me on the back and said that, that's it, Alf, no more touring, that said to me that they had obviously he was the one that made the comment to me. He said that to me with all the other people that was in the thing when George said this, and I've repeated myself, I'm no longer a Beatle. I think it was because they wanted to go forward with their music. And obviously some of the quality time that I ever spent with the Beatles were in the studio, i.e. sort of Beatles for Sale, Help, Revolver, Rubber Soul, and that sort of stuff. But
it was almost pointless for them.
But that wasn't, well, it wasn't their fault. I mean, they were doing the best they can, and they realised that they couldn't. We were on the side of the stage with them, and we couldn't hear what was going on. You could hear the guitars and the drums going and stuff like that, but as far as the voices were concerned, you couldn't hear none of that.